Injustice: Gods Among Us is a fighting game developed by the main creators of Mortal Kombat, now known as NetherRealm Studios. How funny, they made a Mortal Kombat vs DC Universe a few years ago, that wasn't that great. Then they made Mortal Kombat, now we got Injustice. Aside from that, I wasn't extremely happy for a not MK game, but I do respect the legendary Ed Boon, and I wanted to review this game more than just getting another superhero fighting game. So, do you think Ed and NetherRealm can make another decent game without gallons of blood or even a silly crossover? Should I stop asking these lazy-ass rhetorical questions? No, really. Like, comment, and share, and subscribe to tell me why. Now, I'd be one of the first to admit that I'm not much of a comic book fan. But really, who is now? That's why we have these video games and movies, right? Like a Justice League Avengers crossover movie in 2018! Yep, that exists in the comic book. That, and Aliens vs. Green Lantern, Star Trek X-Men, and Archie meets the Punisher. Oh god, yes! So, really no superhero storyline can go too far unless it makes absolutely no sense. But now, back to the matter at hand. Injustice takes place in a conflicting timeline. The game starts off in Metropolis in nuclear ruin, and the Joker has also tricked Superman into killing his wife, Lois, and unborn child. Whoa, that's a bit MK-ish in brutality, don't you think? Superman then loses it after the Joker nukes the city, so he kills that clown and rebuilds Metropolis into a 1984-esque totalitarian reign. The Batman of that timeline then drags the superheroes of the current timeline to aid him in eradicating this oppression. I felt as though this game kept my interest within the storyline a bit more than Mortal Kombat from 2011. The characters are also decent considering that you play as 12 different ones during the course of the story. The story itself is pretty decent considering it's a fighting game. Not many fighters usually have great stories anyway.
Alright then. Operation Thunder Eagle Lightning, whatever, is underway.
The artistic presentation of fighting games is not always a high point either, but Injustice shows no, injustice to this? The graphics in this game have a noticeable dial-up improvement in both the characters and stages. Of course, this game still uses the Unreal 3 engine, but I feel like it's got great visual appeal. Same thing with the actual level and character designs. The backgrounds, foregrounds, and even sprites look very refined for any fighter I've seen recently. Every level in the game is even destructible to a large extent. Look at this! You can even go to a stage viewer and destroy it in front of your eyes. It's like the burnout of fighting games. Along with that, both these levels and characters have a very intriguing, colorful, and eye-catching appearances. It's almost as if these costumes have been, or should be, the new designs in movies. For a fighting game, I say it looks pretty damn good. It's almost like they spent most of the time making the game look pretty. Between the destruction and overall art design, I really think they had enough time to make this game. Now for the most important part, the gameplay. Looking back in 2011, Mortal Kombat did take a much needed step into the progression of the game series. That's because Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe was a failure. They made a great game 2 years ago, and now even more steps have been taken into the development of Injustice, and it shows in a fresh, vulgar display. Starting with the campaign and menu capabilities. In single-player story mode, you can now look through every fight and even each cutscene, which is a huge relief from that aggravation in 2011. During battle, you can even post up certain moves and combos while fighting, which is a great relief for the sucky players like moi. The actual campaign and story may be only like 4 hours long, but with the inclusion of a leveling unlock system, all the other modes, to get you up to level 100, time investment is definitely a guarantee. Injustice also has the MK typical training, practice, and local 2-player game modes. The game also features a Mortal Kombat-like crypt area called the Archives. And once you find yourself there, you can unlock similar game accessories like concept art, costumes, and even online emblem backgrounds for your hero profile. Relating to that, Injustice has a very large presence in the online play, which is now a necessary part, or should be, for current fighting games. The online system is much more refined than the last game, but takes quite a long time to find a player in ranked match. King of the Hill is still present, and even a new game mode called Survivor, which is just King of the Hill with challenges. Oh yeah, and speaking of challenges, this game also features character challenges called Star Labs Missions, which is basically a mix of miscellaneous, silly, and even frustrating minigames that use a 3-star rating system. Classic ladder mode also makes a return, and I'm glad for that, seeing as I really couldn't find it at first. There's actually a whole lot of different renditions of it, and they're grouped into what is called battles. Some of these feature classic, villains, heroes only, poisoned, and etc., yet for the player to unlock. Now for the kit and caboodle if you must. The actual fighting. This game overall plays great, and has a more polished feel than that of Mortal Kombat of 2011. You can brainlessly guess that there are no fatalities or even finishers to be done. Don't fret. Prepare for an onslaught of S's. Injustice has some sick super moves that can put even Street Fighter to shame. Each one is completely different and more ludicrous as you go down the roster. The game also gives characters the ability to drain a portion of their super meter to do a more enhanced special move to link into combos. You can also do something called a wager, where by chance you can either win some life or lose some. To relate to that, the health bars have also changed to a familiar double life bar that acts as like an overshield. The game rounds occur when a player loses half their health bar. Adding to the destruction I mentioned earlier, players can grab objects and hit opponents into the background, and then they pop back out in the line. Some characters can use these objects differently, either blowing up said object, tossing it, or dodging an attack with them. Lastly, a familiar thing from Mortal Kombat that's also in this game are the arena transitions. They're just as epic as ever. Overall, the gameplay of Injustice is very balanced and fun. Even for a crapo player who button mashes, can still have a grand old time. Injustice takes fresh, bloodless steps into progression with the gameplay. A tweak from 2011, and a great one at that.
Don't mess with the best.
Injustice may not be our next Mortal Kombat, or even my cup of tea, but it's a great fighting game that all fans of DC and or other fighters should take a look at. It contains an above average storyline with average characters, but we're not usually too concerned about that in fighting games now, are we? The game's artistic presentation is very well done and can even be very appealing even for the age when sprites are going bye-bye. The gameplay is very fresh and very fun, even for the noobs. The online multiplayer has a huge presence and even rivals that of many shooting games too. I really hope though they kick up the speed in finding a quick match, because that's a bit slow. The overall fighting gameplay is very balanced and adds a few new features that keeps the player coming back for more. This game proves that Ed Boon can make a great fighter without the excessive violence and gore. Injustice Gods Among Us is one of the best fighting games I've played in recent years. 5 eggs out of 6. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed my recent review, and comment if you'd like me to do an in-depth comparison of Mortal Kombat 2011 and Injustice. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time on my Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon review.